fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's Terrifier 2, which was directed by Damien Leone. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin. And today we have with us special guest, Matt.
What is up, everyone?
Matt Banever, back from... I don't know. Oh, you didn't do any of the 13 Days of Halloween with us this year, did you?
No, I don't know if there's someone I should talk to about that, but never even got asked.
We have an HR department, so yeah, I'll get you their contact info. You can reach out to
I'll
them.
lodge a formal complaint.
Well, welcome back. This is your first time on Fresh Film Fridays, right?
Yeah, I didn't even know it until 1 second ago when you said it, and I wasn't even supposed to be on until last night when you texted me that you watched this movie, and I was like, oh God, so did I. And you're like, jump on the podcast. I was like, word.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you worked it in, because, I mean, you're a huge horror fan. We only do the newest films on this podcast or whatever, so...
Yeah, listen to some of them.
Yeah, so just so happened that this is a horror film that just came out, and, people are talking about this one because it's so fucking brutal. So I figured, yeah, we might as well get it on here. Now, have you seen the first one, Matt?
No, I did not. And I was going to watch the first one the other day, but I originally asked this person to go see the second one. Thank God those plans did not work out. And then she started watching the first one, texted me and said, yeah, it was like, okay, you know, some of the kills were a little campy. I was like, all right, well, it sounds like the second one is kind of like what a lot of movies do, like Top Gun Maverick, where they take all the best parts of the first one that they didn't really do, and now that they have a little more money, just basically redo it a lot more intense.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to bring Top Gun into this? This was in theaters, right?
Yeah, it's in theaters right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, Justin, same as you did not see Terrifier 1, right?
No, this is the first I've heard about it. Twitter has been posting a lot, and I saw the creepy clown face, and then you decided to do it, and I was like, all right.
All right.
Those are all fake Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
It's just Alec, like, you guys should really see this.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, so I saw this a couple years ago, like before we even started doing Wheel of Horror, and Jesus Christ, the first one's intense. Like, there's a kill from that still stands out to me, and I'm just like, it's hard to watch, the first one. This one is even harder to watch. So if you had trouble with the first one, don't watch this one, because yeah, as Matt was saying, they basically just ratcheted up everything. I mean, the gore is more intense, the story is more intense, it's way longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, this is an improvement on the first one in every regard. But Jesus, it is so unbelievably brutally intense to watch. So yeah, I want to hear your thoughts on it. What you guys think?
All right. Well, first, I don't think any of us, I don't know, maybe Justin did, but I had to break this up into 4 parts. Like, I could not sit through one viewing. I had to stop 4 different times because I just kept feeling like I was going to throw up. Like, it was so... I've never had such a miserable experience watching a movie. Like, I started it on my TV. I ended it on my phone because I couldn't even, like, handle that much just coming at me. I've actively spent the last 24 hours talking people out of watching it because people keep commenting on my story like, oh, I wanted to watch it. I'm like, oh my God, for the love of God, no. And they're like, but like, I like kind of, you know, some of those like action movies. I was like, this is not that. I was like, there are no kills in this movie. There's no murders in this movie. It's straight up long scenes of torture. Like, I could not find a way to verbally communicate the level of intensity that I watched these people be dismembered, and the camera just stays on it. Like, never pans away. You just watch this all happen. And I just felt so sad watching all of this. So that's my very rational, honestly, I feel justified in feeling not good about watching this movie.
Yeah. Justin, what about you?
I mean, Okay, so from a horror aspect, it's a completely different type of horror. It's not scary. Like Matt said, I mean, it's not, it wasn't like frightening.
Yeah, I agree.
It's this movie was meant to literally just be disgusting and vile, and it did a good job. The only legitimate complaint I have is, and I feel like everyone in the horror community knows this, entirely too long.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like, no horror movie, I would say at most an hour 50, and that would be really long still, but 220? That's like Lord of the Rings length. Like, it's too much. Some of the positives, number one, Lauren Lavera. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And then the entire female cast, like, where did they find these people? And I did not see the first one. If I had more time, I would have liked to watch it. So I do have some questions, like the significance of the sword. The mother was she was a lot. I was really happy when her face got blown off with a sawn off, and I was fairly okay with a lot of the kills. The only one that legitimately, like, I had to look away because my stomach, like, felt like I came back from the gym because I was texting Alec and Eric in our group, and I was like, I'm about to start it, and it was like 3:30, and this is a long movie, and Alec was like, you're cutting it close, and I was like, sure hope like I don't lose power or something, and I can't watch it. But I picked up Subway on the way home, which I haven't had in years, so I don't know what made my stomach feel worse. But the scene where her best friend, she got her arm snapped, okay, which was a lot. I was like, wow, it can't get worse than that. And then he peeled like the forearm skin in half, and I did not feel good.
Yeah, so that scene is called the bedroom scene, and it's been like dubbed that by the media because it's like so intense, and it's like depicting a lengthy murder of a supporting character. It was the most challenging thing that they worked on filming it, technically all of that stuff. It's 3 minutes of mutilation. So that scene is that's a scene where, same as you, Matt, I had to take a break. I was like, I'm going to go for a walk. And I left my house. I swear to God, I left my house, like, just went outside. I was trying to just not think about what I just saw. The other thing, just quickly to what you were saying, Justin, about how long it is. Like, yes, obviously, way too long for a slasher film. I love Dr. Sleep. I love The Shining. I'm okay with longer horror films, but this did not need to be this long. And even the director says it's too long. And he edited it, too. So he's like, I'll potentially split the next part into 2 parts because I never want to make a 2.5-hour movie again.
Before these podcasts, I like to be a little informed. And I went on IMDb, and I was shocked but not surprised about the lack of, like, trivia. Because normally in every movie, there's, like, cool trivia. But because people, like, enjoy making a film. But all the trivia on IMDb is like, the ambulance that drove by was not scripted. It really drove by. I was like, that's the trivia you have? Like, you have nothing else about this movie you can, like, show us? It was just so unbearable. And I think also, like, I don't know if it was maybe not watching the first one, but it's also, like, not that great of a movie. Like, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I really had no idea what was kind of going on or what, like, the significance of anything really was. Like, things were going on, like Art the Clown just kind of walking around murdering people. Like, why that family? What, you know, little stuff like that. I was just like, this is just like a poorly made movie. And then it's just about the torture scenes. And yeah, the bedroom scene was truly the worst thing I have ever seen. I think, like, a lot of people, I don't know, maybe our age, around, like, I want to say like 2008, 9, 10, there was all these websites out, like Two Girls, One Cup, where you could watch just, like, really awful things online. One Guy, One Jar, like, all these awful things. I put the bedroom scene above all of those that I saw. And, like, it really was, like, horrible. And I saw all the Saws in theaters, all the Hostels, all the Human Centipedes. Every single person I've talked to in the last 24 hours, I was like, it makes those movies feel like PG-13. Like, it really is leaps and bounds beyond anything I could ever comprehend to watch.
That's why I thought you would be a good guest, Matt, because, like, you love, the Saw movies. When we were growing up, you were, like, such an advocate of those.
Love them. I have the collector's box set.
Yeah, and for me, like, you know, they were just too intense for me, those movies. Then seeing this, I was like, all right, all right. Like, this stuck with me. Like, I watched it yesterday. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking about that girl in the bedroom when she gets everything torn apart and then the vinegar and the salt poured on her wounds. And I'm just like, I can't handle this shit.
Yeah.
I love horror movies, but not like this.
Yeah. I think the other thing is about like a lot of gore movies, gore, more slasher movies, is that there's a reason for the torture. There's a reason that whoever you're watching gets killed. Like in the Saw movies, it's like the game, they have to get out of it. And if they don't, you watch them die. But you know that going in. The bedroom scene was out of nowhere, a side character, the longest torture scene of the movie, and left you feeling like, what the fuck was that? Why? Like, I didn't even know her name going into this scene, and I just watched her get dismembered and salt and vinegar poured on her, like, scalped brain, and her forearm get ripped open like a wishbone, and all of this other stuff. I was just like, what's the reason for this? And then the worst part about that and the mashed potato scene with the mom was like the witnesses. During those scenes, witnesses come in and see it, like another family member sees it. But again, there's no payoff. There's no like, oh man, he really got them. It's just like, why? What the hell?
Yeah. It almost seems like he's aware of like the camera, like sort of thing. It's like he knows that there's going to be like the kid walking in and seeing this. It's like he set up the mom at the table, set up the whole dinner thing, set up the scene where he's in the bed cutting the girl's leg as the mom comes in. You're right. It's almost like he's aware that there's going to be an audience where he shouldn't be,
Yeah, exactly. It was just like it kind of went back to that opening scene where I don't know what was going on, where they were like had the food truck and stuff, and it was like a fever dream or whatever, but it kind of felt like a show within a movie at certain times, and I never knew really what my role was as the viewer. And it was not fun.
Well, since neither of you saw the first one, what questions do you have? And I can try to fill that in and maybe it would make a little bit more sense. But to be fair, the first one got a lot of criticism because it's basically the exact thing you guys are talking about, where it's just like, there was no point to any of this. So this one, they tried to like give a little bit more of a backstory, make you sympathize with the characters a little bit more, but I don't really think it hit the mark as much. I think Terrifier 3 is probably going to do that. But yeah, what questions did you guys have about the first one that didn't really make sense in this one?
Who's the little girl clown?
That was my question.
Boom. No idea. She's not in the first one at all.
Like he literally just started seeing her and we're just rolling with it.
Yep. I was so confused when I saw that too. And I was like, this girl wasn't in the first one. They never explain it. So you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, because the weird thing about that is he was imagining her.
Yeah.
But then she was doing the kid's voice. So was he doing the kid's voice?
Yeah.
I can't answer that because that girl is new. Yeah.
At the end, they saw her, right? The brother and sister like saw her like pick up the art's head.
You're right.
So
okay, all right. So I can't answer the girl. So yeah, the girl is not in that. None of the characters in this movie are in, with the exception of the lady at the very, very, very end who like gives birth to his head again. She's in the first one.
What was the sword? What's the significance with the sword?
Yeah, I guess that ties into my question, which is like the things I've read is that they resurrect art, which I never really got that feeling in this movie, but like, is that all connected?
No, so that's the other thing that doesn't really make sense. So the way the first one ends is Art blowing his own head off with a pistol. He puts a pistol in his mouth and pulls the trigger. They take his body to the morgue, and that's where this one starts. It's like him escaping the morgue or whatever. Again, I didn't see any resurrection or him getting brought back from the dead for that, so no idea how he survived getting shot in the head and surviving that. No clue.
Okay, so in the first one, is he like he's a human clown, but then he comes back as like a demon clown in this one then?
as far as we know in the first one, until the very end, there is nothing supernatural. He seems like a normal, crazy person who's just dressing up, being creepy, doing creepy things, killing people, and then at the very end, he shoots himself in the head, the the lights start like flickering or whatever, and then his eyes open, and then it ends, and you're like, so is he like supernatural? I don't really know. And this one, clearly he is, so they got some splaining to do in the third one.
No goody.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was the criticism, that he's like, I'm going to address this. I'm going to write a backstory. He didn't really do that, the writer, director, editor. Also, really quick, just about him, Damien Leone, which is kind of interesting. He is a intense special effects guy. So just like the John Wick movies, the guy that directed that was like a huge choreographer, fighter, kind of stunt guy. This guy, Damien Leone or whatever, he is very focused on special effects and makeup and stuff like that. So that's where his strengths are, and I think that really comes through here with like how real everything looks.
Yeah, he did The Mummy.
Oh, he did the special effects for The Mummy?
I think so, yeah. It says he was a part of it. I don't know what he did, but...
So that's the thing. He doesn't have like the greatest writing or the great whatever, but like the kills and the realism of the gore, I think that's where this movie probably stands out the most.
Yeah, and I think that's what made it the most uncomfortable, was that it did feel very real. Like in most slasher movies, it's like over the top blood, and it's something just enough to remove you from this. Like even the opening scene where he like takes the guy's skull and like cracks it open, and the way you see like the skin like pull apart, it's just like, that was a little too real. That felt just a little too natural, and I don't like that. I now have a reference point to how this feels like how it should look.
Oh,
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it seemed like he had some like superhuman strength, because I was thinking about it and I was like, even if like the skull was like kind of cracked, I'm like, it'd be really hard to like pull it in half.
Yeah, there's no way. That's the other thing. I kind of wish like, and I don't know, but like the director seemed like he wanted the people to live through things that they couldn't live through. Like people, it took a lot for somebody to actually die.
The bedroom scene, I mean, she would have blacked out from pain.
Right.
Like she was there with like half a face like still blinking. I was like, no.
Yeah, she like looked up at the mom and it was like, no. You would have been in shock, like all like blacked out or something, or just dead from blood loss, because half your body has been ripped open.
Well, the super strength thing is one thing, but like also he took like a bat with nails to the back of his head. He got like an actual metal rod stabbed through his head, and he survived all that. So
that's the only thing. If he's dead, then I guess it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah, that was like kind of interesting at the end, like the big fight. It felt like they could have killed him, but then it didn't. So then it was like, well, what are we doing here? You know, it's like, you know, even the kid like shot him in the chest with the shotgun, and then it was just like, what? Where's the end? What am I supposed to be grasping for? I didn't get at all. I mean, just like, I wish that there was more of a connection with the whole dad, you know, you're meant to do this. The son saying that to the sister was just like, you know, you're meant to be here, you're meant to kill him, all that. It was just like, wait, what? What?
Even she asked that, she's like, why? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was a weird family dynamic. Like, the dad was like, before I died, I drew you this like slutty angel warrior thing that you can wear now. And dude, the mom was so mean to the son. Like every scene, she was like, "You're a fucking idiot." He's like 8.
Before we move on to the son, really quick, because I do want to talk about that. Just so you guys know, the end when they're looking through the dad's drawings or whatever, those dead bodies are from the first movie. Those are the people that Art kills in the first one. So there's like a dead bald guy. Like those are all the people he killed. So that was a little weird. You're like, why does the dad know about these deaths? So that's why I was like, wait, is the dad Art? Anyways, we don't get the answer for that, but that's something from the first movie that they don't really talk about.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the mom was just a bad actress. I don't...
Yeah, I didn't want to say that. But...
I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I mean, the writing wasn't fantastic, but you're right. She seemed like she was so mean to her kids, and it's kind of like, listen, like, their dad died. Like, they're trying. Like, this kid's not that bad.
Yeah, also super off topic in relation to like gore and stuff, but that like the daughter getting dressed for the Halloween party montage. That was the first like montage I've seen where it started with side boob, and it was just, I was kind of shocked because I expected, like, because dude, one scene you're seeing a girl's elbow like ripped in half, and then I expected, like, if they're doing a montage like that, it would play music, and then, like, you know, you'd see like her robe drop. It literally just opened with side boob, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah, what's the tone?
I'm not complaining. I'm just, it was a weird timing.
There's a time and a place for side boob.
The music I loved, though. I actually really liked the score. I thought that like 80s kind of like synth electric pop or whatever. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The music was disturbingly on point.
I also noticed, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it kind of looked like, at least in the beginning, it was filmed like it meant to look a little older. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I got like Robert Rodriguez vibes
Yeah.
a little bit, but then it would like not stay on that. Like it would just like the whole thing. It just felt it was like very choppy. It's like for the next 15 minutes, doesn't matter what we show, regardless, even if we're halfway between a scene, make it a little grainy and then just drop it.
Yeah.
How I found it funny too. Her friend who she was at the party with, when she like gave her Molly in her drink, and then she was freaking out.
Dude.
She got mad at her. Like, you just drugged
Dude, her friend sucks.
Yeah.
She's like, you're such a, you know, whatever, you're so negative. It's like, her fucking dad's dead and you're drugging her. Like, yeah, that girl, like, she sucked. Yeah, and her boyfriend sucked too.
You know, like, I think that going back, you know, kind of connecting this to the mom, there was no character development, but it was like there was no time to really latch onto a character or understand what dynamics were. Like, you just kind of got introduced to these people and then they randomly went away, usually being dismembered at some point. But it just was like this shit ass character that you just see a lot of and then none of. And it was like, well, what the hell was that?
I love how you're like,
That's
they
true.
didn't have enough time to like introduce the characters. It's like a 2.5 hour movie. It's like we still
Yeah.
don't really get to know the characters.
Yeah, like I don't, you know, why, you know, they could have said it could have been very simple to be like, oh, the mom feels overburdened with taking care of two kind of grown kids and like became like a whatever alcoholic or chain smoker, or like she's in crippling debt or something. She was just so mean for no reason. And then like the friend, it could have been like, yeah, you know, things have really changed since, you know, her dad died. She just straight up was like, come to this party, I'm gonna roofie you. And her brother is like worshiping Satan.
Yeah, there were a lot of scenes where he could have easily shaved off 3 to 5 minutes. Like the first one that pops my mind is where the girlfriend and the boyfriend are waiting for Lauren at the carnival, and it's the whole like Coke bag scene. That was like 5 minutes of just him being like, ooh, I have Coke. Like, why are we fucking watching this? Like,
Yeah.
And then he got stabbed in the dick, and I'm like, this all could have been deleted.
Yeah.
He's an inexperienced director, and he's also the editor. So it's like I think he needs somebody to be like, hey, dude, listen, we don't need this scene. Like, it's
Yeah, like even the whole scene at the Halloween shop was so like I think I was on my phone for the entire time. I was like, this is not what am I seeing?
To comment on that it was funny every time it panned on Art and he had a different pair of like googly eyes. Like, yeah, I was like, that's pretty funny.
It was just like, what are you setting up here? Like, and then I read something in the trivia that was like the Halloween scene was it originally the pumpkin in the Halloween scene wasn't originally there, but it was CGI'd in after because the director wanted it to feel more Halloweeny, and it was like, what are you doing, bro? Like, what? Literally, what are you? You're in charge of this.
You know what's crazy is I expected this to, I don't know, maybe be profitable. The budget was $250,000 and it grossed worldwide $10.6 million.
dude, that's so much money, and even more
That's
to that.
insane.
Guess what? So the first one did very well. The director put an Indiegogo campaign with a goal of $50,000 to get the movie made. The goal, so it made $250,000 in donations from Indiegogo. So, like, it got 430% what its initial goal was. And then it was supposed to come out 2 years ago, I guess, but then it got completely fucked up from COVID.
I mean, that's such an absurd amount of profit, dude. Like, 250 grand is a lot, don't get me wrong, but I feel like a group of friends could go to the bank and be like, "We'd like to take out a personal loan to start a movie." And they'd be like, "Okay." Like it's not that much.
No, especially $250,000 for a 2.5-hour movie? That's so long. Like, yeah. No, so I mean, I guess like the question I have for you guys, and I guess for everybody, and I'll ask Eric when we do Terrifier 1 this week on Wheel Horror. You could probably answer this better than Justin, Matt, but the horror icons, I feel like we've had a dip in those since the 80s. Like we had Ghostface in the 90s, Candyman, I guess, in the 90s too, Leprechaun too, and then in the 2000s we get Jigsaw. That's really it. Yeah. I mean, we have the Paranormal Activity movies, but there's not like a face for that. I think art might be the next big horror icon, of modern times.
I definitely think that art could be up there. It's just so inaccessible. Like, it's so brutal. Like, Jigsaw was cool because you could kind of do it in a couple different ways. You saw people kind of dressing up in, like, the pig masks and stuff, and, like, the weird little clown on the bike. And there was something kind of pop culture you could wrap your head around. But, like, art is so intense to dress up as, like, for anybody. And, but yeah, it is, like, iconic, the imagery, and back to that scene with the weird, messed up food truck scene. It was like, you saw the artwork of him, and it was like, oh, shit, like, that's kind of cool to see that artwork up there. So yeah, I definitely agree with your statement, but I don't think it would ever reach the heights of like a Jigsaw, just because, it's like, this is a hard movie to actually access, watch, and enjoy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, but I'm kind of curious, how did you guys watch it?
Oh, I did the same thing you did. I went to Amazon, and I was about to bite the bullet and pay the $5.99, and then it was like, free 7 days of Screambox, and I was like, I'm immediately canceling this.
Well, I'm an idiot and rented it, so I added to their profits.
Well, it's because that's the thing. It's like, this made so much money, and it's like not really. It's only in theaters, I'm assuming, in like New York, LA, and like Chicago and stuff. And it's not. It's
in Plainville, AMC.
Oh, really?
It's here too.
Oh,
6 showings a day.
Whoa! All right, so damn.
Yeah. So real quick, on IMDb, this got a 6.3. Compared to Terrifier 1's 5.6, what would you guys give it out of 10?
All right. I think purely on a movie standpoint, like kind of writing, directing, acting, all of that as a movie, this is going to be low 3s. 3 maybe. But given that it is a horror movie with cult following aspects being the appeal of it, I can see it being, all of that kind of falls by the wayside. I bump it up to like a 6-ish, but then back down to like a 5.2 because it's so fucking unbearable.
Matt, what is the score?
But then after leap year,
yeah, Matt's like, if you carry the 2, okay. So what are we thinking? You're thinking like 5-ish?
Well, if the Dems carry the House, I will give it. I'm gonna give it a 5.2.
Okay. Alec, what do you?
I'm gonna go with the 6. I think it's a little too long. I think that's the thing that hurts it the most, and also it's just kind of like the story's a little convoluted. So I'm hoping by the time the third one comes out, he learns his lessons from mistakes from the first, mistakes of the second, and brings it into this one. But again, the gore was cranked up from 1 to 2 so substantially. I'm afraid to see what 3 could be like, because I can't stomach anything more than this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 6.5 because it did what it was meant to do very well, which was make a specific like subgenre of horror fans who for whatever reason just want to see people be like physically mutilated beyond belief. It did a great job of doing that.
6.5.
I mean, listen, I have to give credit where it's due. I would never watch it again. And if anyone asked me for a recommendation, I'd be like, it's literally just people's like skin being peeled off. But if you like that,
who likes that?
to Alec's point, the two big flaws is one, the length, way too long. Two, like there's like negative story. I don't know what the fuck was going on. I think to what Matt was talking about earlier, I don't think the way this is going, it could ever be like a Leprechaun or Jigsaw, only because the story's so chaotic. So I think, what's his name? Damien, if he's doing a Terrifier 3, should use his like 9.8 million in profit to one, hire an editor, and two, he should use like 25% of that movie to fill in story background of art from the first two, because we don't know anything about him.
I know. Don't introduce a little girl without explaining what art is first. I think that's
Yeah.
They maybe in Terrifier 3 they do like a Saw kind of aspect where they kind of flash back and just kind of fill in all the holes. I would take that.
Yeah.
I do quickly want to just read these few comments on Twitter on the movie that I posted. Dewey Pod Monster said Lauren Lavera is amazing. The movie improves on almost everything about the first movie. However, the runtime could have been tightened up, and I left the movie with more questions about art and whatever world this is than I came in with. Veterans with Benefits said it's a rough watch, which is, yeah, you're right. Let's Talk About Horror channel. I just dropped a video. Oh, yeah, he just dropped a review on it too, so give him a shout out. Dissect That Film. As someone who came into it without seeing the first one, I thought it was really well done for being so low budget. Kills are brutal until they became a little ridiculous. Lauren Lavera is fantastic as Sienna, and the runtime flew by. Really enjoyed the psychotic ride. Drunk with Bud said absolutely fantastic sequel. I felt like it was kind of far-fetched in the beginning with the dream sequence. That was a weird sequence. I think that lasted a little longer than it needed to, but the kills in the movie were so bloody creative. And our buddy Hops Geek News said, there's no real story. It's just gruesome. And it's just, how gruesome can we make this kill? Which sure is okay for some, but at 2.5 hours, there's little substance. Yeah, that's a pretty solid review.
It's hard to get through. Like, it's not for the casual horror fan. It's not for the casual gore hound or whatever. Yeah, this is an acquired taste.
Yeah, this is like if you've seen like the Syriana film, like all those like cult gore classics. Like if you're in that realm, like if you think Human Centipede is like the gateway into gore, then you should be fine. But like if you are happy that you watched, Freddy versus Jason, this is not for you.
Oh, Freddy versus Jason is like a kid's movie compared to this.
Yeah, I would even say like The Hills Have Eyes is a kid's movie compared to this.
Oh God, yeah. If you haven't seen this movie and you made it this far, you're probably like, I kind of have to see it based on what.
Yeah, I know, right? We just convinced more people to watch it.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for listening into our discussion today on Terrifier 2. We are going to release our episode on Terrifier 1 next week or the week after. I can't remember. But Matt, thank you for joining us for your most recent film, I guess, that's ever been released.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. It's exciting to. I think I'm almost at 10 for the regular one, so it's nice to be on fresh film. Add that to the repertoire.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, yeah, again, everybody, thank you very much, and we will see you all next Friday with A Christmas Story Christmas. So, literally polar opposite of this. So, thank you all, and we will see you guys all next week.
Bye.